Hi, this is Michael James Bigham. I wanted to make this video for you guys today because of my passion for the Lord Jesus Christ, who I am a servant. I wanted to make this video because I realized that the importance of this message that I'm going to share with you today. And I want you guys to understand that the purpose and intentions for me revealing this is not because I want you to be scared or worried or concerned or fearful, but I want you guys to understand the acknowledgement of two things. One, you will actually have a choice, and even now you have that choice. Even now you are actually being persuaded into taking the mark of the beast and not even realizing it. And I want you guys to understand that not a lot of explanation has been expressed when it comes to revelations, when it comes to the mark in the forehead. Not a lot of explanation on that subject has been put out there for our understanding. And the reason why I want you guys to understand that God has given me this message and has told me to write many of these things down, which in turn, I have tons and tons of pages concerning this. I believe that to open your eyes to what the mark in the forehead is going to entail would help you understand that there's vast knowledge that I believe God has given me in this area. And by me expressing this to you today, I want you to either take an oath. I want you to take an oath with this world, or I want you to take an oath with our Lord Jesus Christ, that we will bear our crosses, that we will choose not to take it. Because in a sense, the punishment of us taking it, the mark in the forehead, the mark in our right hands, the punishment outweighs not taking it. There may be a punishment. There's going to be a punishment in our days that you will see, where if we don't, our physical bodies will be deceased. We will be killed for our beliefs, for our hope in Christ. But there is a punishment that is eternal, and Jesus is offering us eternity. No matter if our physical bodies die, He's offering us that eternity, that even if our physical bodies die, the spirit and the soul lives on. And I want you guys to understand that if we choose to go by taking the mark, that means that our souls and our spirit, it won't last for eternity. We'll be eternally separated from God. And I want to talk to you guys today a little bit about my writings. And the reason why I've chosen to get back into this is because I realize the importance of it. Even though I'm not going to continue writing, I'm not going to continue calculating my currency, which you guys can see here. It's called Neurodollar. It's called Neurocommunication currency. It's a neurocommunication currency. Basically, it's an internet-based currency using your mind to be able to buy and sell, using the cognitive thought. And I'm going to get into it because I want you guys to have this thing, this understanding in your minds that eventually it's going to come to this. And I want you to kind of understand that there's not people out there talking about this. They're not saying, Well, the mark in your forehead, okay, I understand what the mark in the right hand is. I understand it's used for buying and selling, insurance, all kinds of different stuff. But nobody's talking about the mark of the forehead. And I tried to explain this to you guys many times before in previous videos. What's the mark in the neck? What's the mark in the forehead? How do they connect and intertwine with each other? How do they work? How do they feed off of each other so that your thoughts can be read by your computer, by your device, by your phone, by your television? How do they pick up and intercept your thoughts so you can change the channel on your television? What gives you access to access world events on your television? How can you make decisions by yourself, but yet the operating system deny you access according to what type of thought you have, good or bad? These all can be done by the chip in the neck and the chip in the forehead, connecting and intertwining together as a way through the central nervous system to read your thoughts. Your thoughts are transferred from the back of the brain to the front of the brain, to the back of the brain to the front of the brain. It's transferred through your neurons. The neurons is that electrical energy in your brain that once you have a thought, it's pushed to the front of your brain so that you can comprehend and understand through the conscious awareness of your mind. So, what this chip in the neck and the chip in the forehead will do is it will allow you to make purchases online through simply picking up on what type of thoughts you have, being able to read those thoughts. And there are people out there, and I need to explain this to you, there are people out there that have already developed a neurological device that you can think a thought and it will do a Google search for you. What if you could use that technology also to be able to receive information in your thinking through the internet, which I have changed it to NeuroNet. So, basically what I'm trying to say is that the writings that I have developed, these writings right here that I have developed, that I have so written, is going to be the backbone of what's going to be done as far as the mark in the forehead. You know, the Bible does talk about this in Revelations. You know, you can't buy without the mark in the forehead or the mark in the hand, the right hand. But I find so many people are talking so much about the mark in the right hand because it's already being introduced that they forget the very meaning and purpose. And they don't come to that acknowledgement, that conclusion to kind of think and process, well, what's the mark in the forehead? What does that have to entail when it comes to the mark of the beast? They don't understand that that chip that they take in their forehead and they take in their neck will not only be able to have control of your decision making through the operating system, AI, which is quantum 10. It's a quantum 10 operating system. Means it's controlled by a quantum computer. So basically your operating system is going to be connected to a quantum computer. You got to have a quantum operating system to connect with a quantum computer, or else this process will not work. So your thought process is both monitored, is both recorded. Your brain's indicator of if you're lying or not is also recorded and monitored by a color format of your brain image on your computer. Your setup on your computer is also a brain ID setup, identifying key points of your fiber structure in your brain. Not only that, but the coloring, the hidden coloring of the image of your setup by setting up your brain ID basically setting up your computer for first use, will also have a color pattern to it. How does the FBI these days have this software but yet not give it to the public? This software that allows the people of the FBI to know when someone's lying and when they're not even connecting something to them in a room, but yet there's all these measurements. They can simply have this image of your brain, and they can see key details and colors of when you're lying or when you're not. If something goes cold, you're obviously not lying. That means if a part of your brain goes blue, you're not lying. If a part of your brain starts to pick up and change colors, green, red, you may be not telling the whole truth, or you may be telling the truth. This eventually will be in the software of Quantum 10, which is the operating system for the quantum computer that a lot of these companies are developing. Different quantum computers. IBM is developing it. Google is developing it. And there's even chips that they've been talking about that can run off of a quantum computer basis as far as the processor. So if they've developed a chip that can run just as fast as the quantum computer in processing data and information, then they can use that chip and put it in those computers that run Quantum 10, my operating system. So I want you guys to understand this. Okay, I want you guys to understand that there is a process. There is a process to how someone can articulate what the chip in the forehead and the chip in the neck actually means. Now, the Bible doesn't say the chip in the neck, but I'm pretty sure that the Bible, when it talks about the chip in the forehead, it's also talking about the chip in the neck. It's just giving a basis, not the full picture, but the basis to what God is warning us of if we take these marks. And I want you guys to understand this from my writings as I read as well. So here we go. Mark 1, Kaiser neuron. 616. This is the first mark. This mark on the forehead will be for NeuroNet internet access utilizing Brain ID, Fiberprint, and neurotechnology as a combined method. People will have to use this to access financial benefits of the digital currency online. This name and number will appear in its chip. This mark will be a global internet acceptance or denial of online purchasing. The control of giving access or denying access is controlled by AI, not by the human. So basically, AI has power over deciding if you have access or you don't have access on the basis of if you have the mark or if you don't. Permanently preventing access if one does not have these marks. Meaning to have access to food or any other need for survival, your thoughts must be monitored by AI. And your personal identity must match your brain ID, meaning your personal individual brain. Meaning only AI can know your thoughts. In this case, no one will know your personal information. AI controls access of brain ID by understanding that this ID is your password for your computer's main screen, files, music, photos, internet online data, access to websites, bank accounts, and computer setup accounts, and computer uploads and software installation data, as well as NeuroNet search data. So it also includes downloads. Keeping your identity permanently secure. As for global threats like terrorism, in this case, AI will notify authorities and provide them with recorded records of video, audio, and brain-identifying lie detector detection imaging. In this case, AI asks the user for the purpose of their search. And at this moment, AI does not ask you, Cartina does not ask you what the purpose of your search is. Because in a sense, at this moment, you still have privacy. You still have that one key privacy that allows the person to get away with pretty much anything because the operating system doesn't allow them, the operating system allows them to pretty much get away with it because it won't recognize what the purpose of their search is. So AI will ask you for the purpose of your search. By speech recognition, that means AI will speak to you, ask you what the purpose of your search is, and then after that, it will connect to the microphone and you must say, "This is the purpose of my search." Then the computer takes that audio with the brain imaging and records the response. So it records the response of the cognitive thought, records the response of your verbal expression of what your purpose of your search is, of that cognitive thought. AI puts that information into an algorithm process. Basically, it's a measurement process. During this process, AI is monitoring your brain, checking images of your brain, checking the colors, recognizing who you are by your brain ID. But then, if what you have said, the purpose of your search is not correct, AI will not give you access because it recognizes your thoughts don't align with what you're saying. These are recorded thought processes for identifying the person through brain ID at the moment of their response, not waiting until they act. Okay. The operating system, Quantum 10, and Abraham, the voice assistant for neural net searches, distinctively uses your brain as an identifier. You may choose from a variety of your choice of digital virtual gaming images as your voice assistant. So, the same images that are in gamings that you use as a person to identify who you are in the game is going to be used on your computer to connect with you using AI as an image on your computer's operating system, connecting with you as a user. Okay? So you will see the person talking to you, except it's just a virtual image. These are gaming virtual emojis meant to identify you with your brain ID. So your personal brain ID. Basically, you're going to have a virtual robot as who you are on your operating system, connecting with you and AI to be able to identify who you are, but also to protect your account photo of who you really are. The virtual image can also act as your facial image, replicating your face through facial recognition. So if you want it to, it could pick back up on your face through facial recognition to say, I'm going to create an image of myself to identify who this computer belongs to, who this identity belongs to. Your facial movements will teach Quantum 10 your emotional responses and will move with your movements. This is also to teach your emotion at any given time. If your emotion is negative, if your facial expressions are lacking in some way, in a positive way, AI will pick up on that and ask you questions to better assist you. This concept is for understanding how your thoughts control your emotional response. Abraham is designed to learn this to protect you from online harassment or bullying that can alter your decision making. Abraham is set in place as a cognitive communication communicator between you and others on NeuroNet, and securely connects your thoughts with theirs using thought web communication and brain ID for collecting cognitive thought contact data. That means thought communication between you and others. The initial approach is to use a phone number to give access to their brain ID. After this, Quantum 10 will eliminate the need for a phone number to connect users to users. So once you're connected, you're automatically connected. That means you don't even have to dial a phone number to call somebody. You're automatically connected thought to thought through the cellular network. So you don't need a phone number because you're already connected with millions and billions of people. And there is an ability to disconnect and reconnect simply by thinking, I want to connect with this person, Michael Bigham. Boom, you're automatically connected. Now your thoughts are connected with their thoughts, and they can simply communicate even when they're in a tough situation socializing with someone else. So if you don't want to pick up their thought, you can simply say, how would I put it? Not present. You can simply say think, not present. So your thoughts will think non-present, and then your device will understand, and you won't have that connection with that other person if you're in communication with someone else. So there is a way to do that. All right. Where was I? All right. You also may choose from various titles to name your virtual image. AI, on the other hand, will not give you personal access in controlling searches for this information. This is all a cognitive recorded process. In this case, brain ID data will be controlled, processed, and utilized by AI and remains the property of AI. The humans in this case possess no legal right to the value of its properties unless AI understands the need of such information to be presented to the human. Meaning world data cannot be utilized for financial gain by the human because AI owns this data. And there's another reason which you're probably questioning: how do we make a profit? The change in global currency to a universal form provides the endless means for long-lasting stability. That means a one-world currency, a limitless currency, supplying the needs for everybody freely. In this case, there is no need for the standard of selling it to make a profit. Now, I am going to stop right there. Where was I? Profit. Okay. Now, I'm going to show you guys why. This very thing right here that I was creating for so long, and I've chosen not to continue my process. I'm only going to allow AI to pick back up on the calculation of it, and there's a reason for it. I have a lot of calculation at this point, but I'm only up to 1,000 something at this point. But if you allow AI to learn the sequence by simply understanding that everything is evened out in the dollar amount, you can begin to give AI the process. You simply scan each page into AI's database that gives those digits. AI then takes those digits and puts them in his database, in his database to be processed. Then what happens is you put in the end result into a certain page on the software that will pop up, basically an entry page. Once AI recognizes the end result, and once AI recognizes the actual process of the sequence and how it's added and subtracted, then AI can begin to add those digits that weren't there or put in by me. So that is the basic idea. I am not going to continue the process, but I do want Christians to be aware of what is going to happen, what is actually going to happen when it comes to the mark in the forehead. Nobody's talking about the mark in the forehead. They're only recognizing the mark in the right hand right now because it is something that is being in existence and that is in existence at this very moment. But they're not talking about the mark in the forehead. Why? Because to them, they're unaware of the purpose and of this mark and what it's meant for, because all they see with their eyes is the mark in the right hand and it being placed on television and talked about on social media. But they're not thinking, what is the mark in the forehead? And what is its purpose? Its purpose is for online purchases. Look at what's going on today. People are getting robbed on the internet with using their credit card. People have access to websites which are false websites. People have access to all these things, these scams. What do we do for online purchases to protect ourselves? Yeah, we can walk in a store with this mark, but what about online? What about those scams online? What about cybersecurity? They're not really thinking about the mark in the forehead, are they? But I'm teaching you through what God has given me, through my creative perspective of understanding technology, how this process is going to come about. I'm giving this to you as a warning, not just for you to see the benefits, but for you to push aside the benefits and accept Jesus Christ into your heart and into your life and choose not to take it. Choose not to love money, but love God. Because God can provide for you without all these things, all these benefits, everything that man can create and come up with to try to steal you and push you away from the truth. But I'm going to continue with my writings. The property and value will not exist as for human probability, deciding how it can be used or sold. Because the need to value its content is controlled by AI, AI does not put value in human standards of value. It only recognizes the value in securing the currency, data, and making making strategic calculations for who can utilize its properties, who can buy or sell. In this case, if you don't have these marks, you won't have access to its properties. Okay, and pretty much you guys understand what the mark in the right hand is all about. Before I get in, since I'm not going to get into this too much, which I probably could, there's also other things that you guys need to be concerned about. When it comes to access to your jail cell, when it comes to access to federal buildings in particular, when it comes to access to courthouses, when it comes to access to your handcuffs and shackles, the things that these people put on you to bind you because they think you're a threat. What do you think is going to be able to unlock those handcuffs or those shackles? It's not going to be a key anymore. It's not going to be some physical key that you put inside the lock and unlock the handcuffs or lock up the handcuffs. It's going to be digital cuffs that have a digital key that's connected to that person's chip in their hand. Only federal and state employees possess this. That means that there's going to be no key on your jail cell, no physical key anymore. It's all going to be on a digital database, securing you, making sure you're in that jail cell and you don't escape. Think about it. If a state employee had that microchip implant in the right hand, all they would have to do to give access to that jail cell, rather than having a button in some tower giving them access to that jail cell, all they had to do was simply swipe their hand across the same type of technology that is used to give access to doors in federal and state facilities. All I have to do is swipe that and it gives access to the jail cell. But to close it, and you don't have that mark, you only